Dire team ban.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into this Friday edition of the G-1 Champions League. We've got DK taking on Shane Stack with a lot on the line. It's an elimination match, win or go home. Now, there aren't many teams with bigger names on the front and back of their jerseys than DK, and there aren't many teams with as good a reason to make 2013 a dominant year. DK is stacked with stars, and the biggest of which has decided to call it a career at the end of this year's cycle of competition. Burning will wave farewell following the closing ceremonies of the International 3. So these next 6 months represent the final chapter for him and DK as we all know it. But you never know it, given the start they've had to their G1 run and in 2013 as a whole. DK has been out of commission since the end of their G League run back in 2012, and so far in 2013, they've had some trouble shaking off the rust. Their only 2 matches so far this year have been in the G1 League, and they've yet to win a game, let alone win a series. They were on the ugly end of dominant performances by Zenith and Invictus Gaming, both of which rang them up 2-0. Today, though, should represent a chance for them to get a win under their belt and look to turn things around before losing becomes a habit. Shane Stack, well, they're pretty much the polar opposite of DK, a group of relatively unknowns enigmatically identified as nothing more than their carry players. Stack, Shane's is neither legendary nor full of superstars, at least not yet. One thing they do have in common with their opponents today, though, is they happen to be damn good at Dota. Shane Stack is the lone remaining team who began their run in Phase 1 of the Asia Qualifier, but their Cinderella story has found itself similarly in dire straits as DK has early on in 2013. The losses have been coming in bunches in the last week or two, and they're now facing the potential of elimination at the hands of a team considered by many to be one of the best on the planet, even in their off days. It's win or go home for both squads. Shane Stack with a chance to keep their hopes alive and upset DK. DK, though, just wanting to extend their run here in G1 and hopefully get things back on track. I'm EC, joined by Puppy for the broadcast. 3 days in a row, man. I'm pretty happy about it. The viewers pretty happy about it. Welcome in, my friend.
Yo, man.
Always love it.
Wait a second.
What?
Sounds going on. Now I'm ready.
There we go. All right, man. I'll tell you what. I did my whole rundown. How about you tell us what you see so far in the picks and the bans?
Well, I don't really know how Change Stack plays. I did a little bit of research this 2 minutes while you were talking. I took a look. What do they want to do? And I guess they're pretty much on the par of what every other team wants to do. But besides that, they maybe have their own kind of niche of style. Still kind of a European type of vibe I see from the Furions and stuff, and more like heroes like this. So, I mean, like you said, it has to be a must-win for DK or Change Stack. So this is like a very high game for them. They're going to pull out all the cards. It doesn't really matter if they had strategies before for the grand final or the semi-final. They're going to have to pull them all out right now.
Absolutely agree. And if there's anything that in the time I've had casting Change Stack, it's not like I'm an expert. I've just had to look at them through Phase 2 and now into Phase 3 of G1. They actually are really, really good at applying pressure early. They tend to move really well whenever they run a tri-lane. When I say move really well, I don't mean obviously they handle themselves in the lane very well, but their gank timing, their gank initiation, and so on and so forth, especially with a Shadow Demon and a Nyx Assassin, they're really, really good at that. And looking at where they are right now, I mean, let's be completely honest. They're a very talented team of Dota players, but they're up against a legendary team in DK. They're going to have Anti-Mage that's in the wheelhouse of Burning most certainly. And most of the time, whenever I talk to professional players, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as we move into the second ban phase, and what seems to always pan out is if you're a team who's maybe on a little bit of a lower tier in terms of just pure skill and experience, what you want to do is just knock the enemy team out of their rhythm early, apply pressure early, get a little bit of a lead, and then just keep the pedal to the metal.
Well, it really depends on what type of heroes you have, because every lineup is different. If your heroes are meant to roll over the heroes in level like 6 or level 11 or what after some items that they get like BKBs and stuff, then those heroes don't need to be dominating at the early game stage of the game. But you can do that with Enigma that doesn't have to necessarily have a BKB to Black Hole heroes, but you still play a different type of game. Because, for instance, there are a lot of heroes that are very good at level 6, and they're just not so good at level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And many of those heroes are like Anti-Mage. You know, he's really good level 1. He's pretty much the only reason why he's still being picked is because he's a strong hero. He can blink, he can deal a lot of damage, he's a strong attacker, and he's not that easily to kill. And his level 6 does not really matter that much. His ultimate is what will it deal? It will deal 150 damage to you, like some point. It's not that strong. That's why this hero is still picked. But he's also a strong late game, super late game, one of the super late gamers in this whole game. So it doesn't really matter what do you want to pressure with. It really matters how you pick through and how you play it, because how you play it depends how you win.
Absolutely. Very well said, eloquently stated. Chain Stack, we can see they do have the potential to apply pressure. At least speaking of strong heroes at level 6, Queen of Pain certainly among those heroes, of course, depending on how she skills. But, I mean, even with a point or two into Shadow Strike, you still have a lot of damage output you can rely on from Sonic Wave and from Scream of Pain. Shadow Demon, Nyx Assassin, 2 heroes that can get out, get mobile, get moving around the map very early on, especially with the Magnus pickup here. I mean, seeing the Magnus out of DK, Magnus Anti-Mage, that's just a scary combination, because you know that is a combination that is going to be absolutely lethal. Come the late game, it lets the Anti-Mage just look at that and go, you know what, I'm not going to worry about a BKB. He may think twice about it because he is up against a Shadow Demon, which is a pretty solid counter to an Anti-Mage because of disruption. But even if he doesn't get a BKB, just tanks up with a heart, then you can rely on Magnus's Empower, and all of a sudden, a hero that, as you said, is one of the inarguable best late game carries, he just got a lot better.
Yeah, but I'm looking at these picks and reminding myself how G1 League has been played off. I've seen IG, I've seen DK play, I've seen Orange play in LGD International, and I see them putting the early pressure so much that they just don't let Anti-Mage room. And this is why we didn't really see the Rubik much in the early stages of the pick. And he got banned sometimes in this second phase. But when I'm looking at this Queen of Pain pickup right now, Orange would have taken Leshrac there. Definitely. And they would not let this Anti-Mage pull off. And there are very many heroes that are actually very good against the Anti-Mage right now that people are using a lot. This Obsidian Destroyer is super good against Anti-Mage. Even though it would look like Anti-Mage is good against Obsidian also, he one-shots the illusions and he kills the Anti-Mage, because it's, what's it called? It's the 95% pure damage, I think. Right. Of the first orb that he has, the orb effect damage. And that pretty much kills the hero. And of course, Astral Imprisonment is good on a hero that Anti-Mage is trying to focus down. Right. So if it would have been a Nyx Assassin, Shadow Demon, Leshrac pick that I would see from Orange, and they would have probably picked off an Obsidian Destroyer and a Weaver, just like we would have seen the last game. But DK are going their simple strategy. They like their simple strategy. But right now you can see Magnus picked up. Right now you can see Beastmaster pick up. And you know it's going to be a support last hero.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, already you can begin to see the synergy of where, you know, Magnus, Beastmaster, those are 2 heroes that are excellent in their own right. They can start to fight as early as level 6. They can move around the map very effectively for ganks and counter ganks, so on and so forth. But they both make Anti-Mage better at all stages of the game. Beastmaster, of course, with his aura, Magnus with Empower. So they're putting together, like you said, it's a simple lineup. And to be honest, if there's anything that could be criticized of DK so far, it's the fact that DK has been picking some simple lineups that have been picked apart. Their Anti-Mage pick, for example, has been very susceptible in the past to a Tinker pickup. Tinker, a hero who can really shut an Anti-Mage down just because of the miss percentage that comes with laser. He can bounce around the map very, very easily to shut down Anti-Mage's split push and so on. Don't think we're going to see that out of Chain Stack, but just kind of expanding on your point, Anti-Mage, a very situational and team-based hero now. You know, he's not a hero that every team goes after if he's available. He's a hero that is just based on how comfortable a team is with him. And wow, gonna get to see a Venomancer. I have not seen a Venomancer played in competitive Dota, at least in games I've casted in a long, long time.
He's a really good hero against the 3 first heroes that Chain Stack has. Because whatever you want to do with Nerubian Assassin, Shadow Demon, and Queen of Pain, if you waste spells on the Venomancer who has used all of his spells, you're pretty much wasting mana, wasting damage, and he's just gonna be there.
Love the Venomancer pickup. And, you know, he's one of those heroes that has just kind of fallen out. I mean, people have realized just how powerful heroes like Shadow Demon, like Rubik are, for example. Nyx Assassin, of course, making his rise to a first pick, first ban level of hero. But there's still no more deadly spell at level 1 than Venomous Gale. I mean, Gale is just utterly crippling. And, I mean, it is so easy to underestimate just how slow you are and just how long level 1 of that spell lasts. So if you have any kind of an aggressive lane, or you're looking to just play any sort of a protect protect kind of a stature, and which certainly you'll see with the burning. Very hard to engage into a lane like we see DK putting together. I mean, coming out of Rubik, you have to deal with telekinesis. Rubik traditionally known as a more defensive support. He can be played very offensively, of course, once he gets a little mobility if you want to play him that way. But when you're talking about having telekinesis to line up perfect Gales, very difficult to even try to engage into an anti-mage.
Well, right now we can see that the Alchemist pickup is just pure farm. We're going to try to fight the Anti-Mage with the Alchemist, but in this case you're not just going to be fighting the Anti-Mage, you're going to be fighting Beastmaster Aura and Empowered Anti-Mage. So let's see how this game goes up, because I'm not really sure who's going to win. Even though I can see DK's lineup is much more easier to play.
Absolutely. That's kind of what stands out, too. And we talk a lot about that in the D2L when Draskell and I broadcast, and I haven't talked a whole lot about it during my solo cast, but there is a lot to be said about ease of execution in a lineup and what you can rely on. Like, DK has a team that's very tough to crack. You and I covered that yesterday, talking about how just really hard it is to push into a Magnus, especially at the tier 3s. You know, it is just so deadly to get your team into a choke point like that, to be grouped up in that small a piece of real estate, and then to have a Magnus, to say nothing of a Beastmaster Roar, which, I mean, a Beastmaster Roar well placed can set up a perfect RP, or the other way around. It can work in both directions. So we're going to see a little bit of movement already. Nyx Assassin heading towards mid, played by Legendary, and we'll keep an eye on where he wants to wind up eventually. In the jungle, we're going to have Risk on the Darkseer, so just going to be in the woods trying to get his farm up while we have time, and it will be very, very passive lanes, as there's only really one lane where heroes from either team are close to each other, and it's here in mid. But I will run through the lineups while I have a chance. Burning, no surprise to see the captain and the legend farming up our anti-mage, QQQ. Playing our Venomancer, Magnus going to be handled along with that Venomancer. It's by XB. Going to have Super playing on our Beastmaster here in mid, and MMY going to be playing here on our Rubik on the other side of the river. As mentioned, Risk in the jungle. Minerva will be playing our Shadow Demon. Nyx Assassin handled by Legendary, who's been a really standout player for Chain Stack so far, someone you definitely want to keep your eye on. The eponymous hero of the Chain Stack, of course, Chains on our Alchemist, and Chibix, the stand-in, playing for our Queen of Pain.
I think the Shadow Demon shouldn't steal levels from the Alchemist. As fast as you can get levels on this hero and get his gold amount spell higher, you're gonna have so much money out of him.
It's definitely something. We're going to have a smoke up on DK. Keep an eye on this momentarily, but that's always a choice Alchemists face early on, is do you want to max Goblin's Greed or max your Unstable Concoction? Hold that thought. We'll get back to that in a moment. Chibix here. He's got 1 point into Blink. It's off cooldown if he wants to use it. Now bottling back up. Here we go. Gonna boo-hoo. Very close to being telekinesis there. Able to make it away and happen to find himself a double damager. Not a bad piece of work.
Yeah, if you make a good move, the Dota gods give you runes.
That's exactly it, man. But yeah, I mean, given he's under no pressure up here, Chains, I think, making the right call, most likely going to be maxing Goblin's Greed, and we'll see. I mean, in this situation, do you max Acid Spray, or do you max your, along with Goblin's Greed, do you put points into Acid Spray, or do you put points into Unstable Concoction?
Depends how he wants to play it. I would literally only take the stun level 2 in this case, but it just because the Shadow Demon is such a good combination with the Alchemist. I'm not sure how he will play the hero overall, because we need to see his items. He doesn't even have to take any spell right now. He can just leave it like this. He has no rush.
Absolutely. Very quiet early game. We can expect this. I mean, we saw a little bit of movement out of DK. Going to be very difficult to gank out that Queen of Pain. I'm actually a little surprised that we haven't seen Chains apply a little bit more pressure to mid. That's something they really like to do in most cases. They have 2 excellent heroes for it too, Shadow Demon and Nyx Assassin, but just prioritizing their farm here, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
Well, yeah, I guess getting Nyx Assassin level 6 is the big priority actually in this game.
Legendary well on his way. He's level 3 so far. Super doing quite well here in mid up against the Queen of Pain. He's got 15 last hits, and Chibix hanging and banging, of course, but 18 to 16. This is a very good start for Super in this situation, and they were unable to, even though they were unable to bring the Queen of Pain down. But early on, I mean, we could see the last hits going about as you would expect. Anti-Mage a little bit further ahead than you may expect. He's just 3 or 4 ahead of the Alchemist, though. Alchemist right on par. Darkseer doing quite well out of the woods, even though his general gold intake not going to be quite as high, as it is a little inflated from just the fact that it's jungle CS and not lane CS. But early on, 4 minutes in here, Puppy, who do you think is going to end up in the better position as we head towards the middle stage of this early game?
Well, I'm still going to say... Well, for now, I'm going to say it's going to be C-Stack, because I don't see this Magnetar getting anything out of this Woods, while Darkseer is just going to get level 9, while this Magnetar is probably going to be still level 5.
Right.
So the mech's going to be very early.
Yep, we can see the Soul Ring already complete. He's got 250 gold in his bank aside from that. Magnus is just level 2, just about to be level 3, but as you said, I mean, he's going to be low for a while. Venomancer also very low. He's level 2. Compare that to Minerva, who is 3.5, almost to 4. Same story for Legendary, and you know, we see the smoke is up on Legendary if they want to start moving, but I think they realize, as you pointed out, that they're doing just fine here. They're getting ahead in terms of levels.
Well, what I'm trying to say right now is going to be that DK is losing, and I think it's pretty easy to see on the XP graph. You can just look at it now. It's 5 minutes in, and the XP graph is just going and going. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, the Venomancer is standing there farming with the Magnetar, and they're doing less of a job than actually one Darkseer is in the woods. The Venomancer was standing middle for a long time, thinking that the Shadow Demon and Nerubian will start ganking him, but now is the gank, and I don't think he's going to be ready for this.
Yep, this is, and again, this is something Chainstack has excelled at. They have been so good in picking their shots, and Super's way on the other side of the river. He's going to go ahead and dip to the south. The smoke wears off just in time for him to get a start. Shadow Strike from the high ground will slow him down. He's going to have help on the way, and they wisely pull back. I think that's definitely the right call there.
Yeah, Super was getting very dangerously close to level 6, actually. So if he would have caught that level 6, I think he would have just ran in. Ultimated this Queen of Pain if he would ever blink in.
And now we can see Magnus is going to make his way up the top, and this is something pretty desperately needed if he wants to catch up. Soak up what experience he can from the lane. And obviously he can't get too far out there. No points in Unstable Concoction, though. No way for him to know that, at least at the moment, but 3 points into Goblin's Greed, going to keep that farm quite high from Chains. So Chains already being a little bit outrun in terms of farm by burning, but Goblin's Greed, of course, a mitigating factor to consider.
Top tower is under attack.
Well, Burning's going to go for the Battle Fury build, so... I mean, everything's obvious in this game. Nothing special. Nobody's getting killed yet. I'm still probably going to see... Our first kill is probably going to be some surprise or a Beastmaster Roar.
Yeah, I'm actually, I mean, again, given Chainstack's style of play, what they've shown us in the past, they do like to get themselves ahead early with ganks. We saw the one attempt, and even it was a little later than you'll usually see out of them, but... I mean, again, if they feel confident in where they are, and they should with the Darkseer in the woods, just because you know he's going to be getting his gold, he's going to be getting his levels, the quicker you can get him to, say, level 10 and 11 in particular, to get his wall up to help you hold towers, a little bit easier. But, I mean, looking at the compositions here, both teams have 2 heroes that want to go late with their farm usually here, Puppy. In terms of mid-game, which team do you think is under more pressure to maybe apply, to maybe try to take fights, or does either team really have that feeling?
Well, I think there's going to be a problem in the end that the Darkseer is going to be stronger than most of the heroes. But he's not doing that well. The anti-mage is still going to burn his mana down if he jumps on it. But the problem really is if he gets like level 12 too early and going to have Wall of Replica level 2, Vacuum level 4, he's going to deal a lot of damage.
Chibix barely able to blink away. Had the camera there. It wasn't going to interrupt you because I thought she was going to be able to blink away.
He even has a region that's totally negated this roar, so pretty much we're not going to see a kill for another 2 minutes probably, so I can just talk about stuff. Look at Risk farming these golems that he doesn't like there.
Oh, that's so miserable.
Oh, he did. Holy lord, there's so many stacks there. Anyway, at this point, if the Vacuum is going to be level 4, the Alchemist is going to be level 4, I think they can just 2v5 the team, because... The Magnetar is not going to be a huge presence in this game. For now, at least, I think. Because he's still level 4. Getting level 5. And as you have to remember, the Alchemist stun is AoE now.
Right.
It is AoE, and it's very, very strong.
Oh yeah, and Goblin's Greed, or excuse me, not Goblin's Greed, Unstable Concoction. I think teams are beginning to realize that a little bit more. And, you know, it's not as if, hold on, Burning is going to apply a lot of pressure here. He's got a single pull stack worth of creeps and going to go ahead and move forward and start cutting the creeps, keeping them off of the creep wave on the tower. Tower should end up dropping. There will be no contention. Looks like Chain Stack might... Nope, never mind. They're not auto-attacking top, so they're just going to give this to Burning and the rest of DK pretty easily. We could see, like, as you had pointed out, 1,500 experience moving the way of Chain Stack. The gold just about in that same exact area will be dipping up now, and they may push to tier 2 here. And looks like it's just going to be Burning for the moment.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, he knows his position. I think if they put a track on this Nerubian the whole game, Anti-Mage is not going to have a problem farming.
But back to the Alchemist. I think people are beginning to realize just how powerful Unstable Concoction can be if it's well-timed, if you have the right team to work with it, and if you're able to make, as you said, the best use out of the AoE. The AoE is not gigantic, but when you have a Darkseer wall to set it up for you, when you have things like Impale that are going to be able to hold people in place even after a Darkseer vacuum, excuse me, not wall, but the vacuum to set it up, there's a lot of uses for that, especially in conjunction with the AoE damage that comes out of Acid Spray, Scream of Pain, and Sonic Wave from the Queen of Pain. I mean, there are a lot of lineups that can benefit from having an Alchemist, to say nothing of the late game potentially does give a lineup. DK has smoked up now heading to the bottom now.
Are we going to see our first kill?
Been a long time since I've gone 10 minutes deep into a game and not seen a kill. In fact, I think you have to go back to before the International for the last time I saw a game go this late and not a single death on the board.
Yeah, I think one of my games had like a 13-minute first death or something like that. I'm not sure.
And here we go. Yep, Super moves in. Oh, wow. Wound up and stutter stepped. And Chipix bought time, or able to buy himself time with the bling. Now, Minerva. Well, that was kind of anticlimactic for a first death. Minerva just landed, and it was a hot LZ. Should have stayed at home.
Reminds me of that DK game where ROTK jumps out of Blink Dagger and his allies was running and tried to save ROTK, but ROTK was fine by himself. Shadow Demon was trying to help the Queen of Pain, even though the Queen of Pain did not need any help.
Yep. And Super. I mean, I gotta give it to Chipix, man. Chipix, this is the second time he stood in for Chain Stack, and if we're to be completely honest, his performance in the last series he stood in, not exactly great. I mean, he wasn't terrible, but, I mean, just not playing on the same level. He's played well so far today, been very quick with his reactions, his game sense has been solid. Legendary now, gonna hook up, make his way under... Go ahead.
Legendary made a big mistake. He used his ultimate before. Oh, wow, they still don't know?
Wow.
Why?
Super dead, and Carapace stuns both out. And yeah.
No, but super pinged that they saw the next assassin because he used Invis before, like after, like he got down the ramp and got onto a ward placement, like near the freaking vision, and then he used the Invis. Super saw that, he pinged that. I don't know why X went in front. I guess they were trying to bait it out, but baited death.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, that's been a problem. I'm not sure how much of DK you've watched since they've come back in 2013, because they've only played, this is only their third series in 2013 that they've played. Their last series before this goes all the way back to December before their G1 streak. And I'll be honest, I mean, and I've talked this over with a few other people, players and casters who have watched the series. DK has been showing some real lapses in communication. It's, you know, little things like that. You know, it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's just a return kill, what have you. But just obvious instances of someone not listening or the communication not being there being confusion. Hold on, no confusion for Super. He's looking for Legendary. And unfortunately, there we go. Does manage to catch him just before Carapace goes out. Down to half health, he's going to be cleaned up quite easily. So he's off the board. The immediate TP heading to the top. Going to be Risk, going to try and hold this tower. In the meantime, though, Burning just continues to work. He's going to have his Battle Fury up in about 14 minutes.
Yeah, and another mistake with the Narub. He should have actually just Invis, not baited out the Spike Carapace. Since he did not have his teammates next to him, there was no reason to bait out the Roar. It would have been great if there would be a Darkseer there. Yes, but he wasn't there. But, you know, you can't say things like that, because let's say the Darkseer should have been there. What would have happened if the Darkseer would have been there? Because you would have seen a big old vacuum into a mech on the Nyx Assassin and a stun from the Alchemist. You would have seen a team wipe.
Right.
Well, Burning's going to farm, but everybody else dies.
Yep. Burning.
So there are situations like that where you actually think you're doing the right move. I think I already said it before. Like, you do the right move, but it was actually the wrong move. But then you do the wrong move, and it's actually the right move.
Yeah, you do the wrong move. You make the right mistake at the wrong, or the right mistake at the right time. There we go. That's how the the saying goes. But yeah, I mean, and it's DK so far. I mean, it's not like they've opened up a gigantically burn. I mean, hell, you look at the gold. It's actually to the credit of Chainstack. They're ahead in experience and in gold right now. But as always, when Animage gets up his Battle Fury, which he has now, got it right at 14 minutes. He's going to put them on a timer. I mean, even with an Alchemist versus Animage, that's not a horrible matchup. Alchemist actually went full farm. He's got Midas plus and Battle Fury as well.
Oh yeah, he's gonna destroy faces, I think. Let's take a look at this Magnus gank. It must work out for them.
Risk making his way up. Looks like they may just want to take this tower. And so far, Legendary showing his face. Playing a little bit of chest out Dota, but for the moment, they're going to be forced off. In the meantime, in mid, we've got him in Wine Super. Super's under cover of an Invis rune. And he's going to spin it on Chibix. Let's see if they can lock him down. Telekinesis, there it is. Well timed. TP's going to be there. And Chibix with Carapace almost bought enough time. Or excuse me, not Chibix, but the Scream of Pain from Rubik, I mean. And Legendary now there. Tried to get there to help his buddy out. And a little bit too late, make it 3-1 favoring DK.
This Spike Carapace changed everything. If he would not have used Scream of Pain, he could have just gone out with a Blink deck, or Blink, regular Blink. But Burning destroys another tower bottom, so this is harsh for them, since they're not taking towers down, and they don't have a lineup really to siege any towers. Well, DK has a lineup of, yeah, they can siege towers, they can even push the Anti-Mage in front, and if you try to jump on this Anti-Mage, they're gonna have backup. He's gonna be this farmed hero that's gonna go in front and just hit the towers. Pretty sure about this.
How crazy is it that you have an Alchemist at 110 last hits with maxed out Goblin's Greed at 16 minutes into the game, and he's not even the story. I mean, you look at the Animage at 130 last hits, 37 denies at 16 minutes into this game. Burning's having some okay farm. I mean, yes, a lot of that is jungle creeps, and it's only going to get worse and worse as time wears on now that he has his Battle Fury. But when you look at the GPM, oops, there we go. That's the tat I'm looking for. Alchemist remains ahead. He's sitting at 562. Of course, the Midas helping quite a bit with that. And the Battle Fury going to let him farm the jungle not quite as fast as an Animage because the mobility isn't there that an Animage has built into him. But still going to be able to get some work done.
Well, the thing about Anti-Mage and Alchemist is who you're giving farm to. Because the Alchemist has no split push ability, and he's going to die in a second, basically.
Yep, just blown up. Completely blown up. Now they're going to be able to take another tower.
Well, I don't know. They haven't used their heroes to their potential, because I think Battle Fury and Midas is just way too much. You need to put early aggression with this hero. So let's see another fight coming up.
Minerva losing half of his health to one shockwave, and here comes Legendary. Legendary eats a lot of damage. Can they get Magnus? Mech gonna get him back into fighting shape. There's a good vacuum. Can they follow it up? Not so far. Carapace is there to keep up Legendary. They want to respond. Here comes Queen of Pain. Chibix gets a return kill. And now Burning on his case, though. There's the Courier as well. Chibix taking a lot of damage, and in the meantime, Legendary engaging onto the Rubik. Here comes Burning again. Nyx Assassin gonna drop. Risk gonna make a run for the tower. Can they catch him? They will. Burning gets a...
Oh, puppy paws.
Magnus, GG. So, breaking the action. That'll allow me once again to thank each and every one of you for tuning in this morning. Remind you to check out G1.2p.com for all of your coverage here of the G1 Champions League. Winner go home day for Chainstack. DK loser eliminated from the tournament. Even the winner still going to have a long road ahead of them. If you're just tuning in, I'm EC, joined by Navi's own Puppy. Once again, man, glad to have you on. And got to admit, you made a lot of people happy. Like, everyone was showing up in the chat, and they're like, hey, AC, is Puppy going to be back? You're going to have a co-caster today? I'm like, nah, guys, sorry, it's just me. And they're like, it's okay, we love you, but we also want Puppy back. And then like 2 minutes before the game goes live, you're like, hey, I'm here, let's go.
Yeah, I just, just came around.
Showing up like a rock star, man. Fashionably late. But you weren't late, you were actually right on time.
I was. I know the G League, come on. Advertising
30 minutes. Yeah, it's...
it gets more and more every time.
I got to admit it, yesterday was a little ridiculous, and I'm hoping that today... And, whatever. It's not my tournament. Not mine to run. I'm certainly not fronting the $50,000 plus for the prize pool, so whatever they want to do. But, yeah, 30 minutes between games. A little extreme. It's a little bit much.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about how you can see right now Doxia using the mech only now. That means the Shadow Demon and the Narub, who both who died, next assassin, they both died before the mech got used. So that's a weird theory.
Animage already got up a Yasha, and they should be able to clean Risk up here. He's going to have Surge in 1 second. Do they have... They have a Telekinesis. That should be it. Yep, and there it is. Risk brought back. There's the skewer. Peace out. See you at the well. 40 seconds. He's down. Another tier 1 gonna drop, and all of a sudden, this map control beginning to disappear for Chain Stack. And if there's one thing you can't allow to happen, especially whenever you draft something like an Alchemist just to try and go farm to farm with an Anti-Mage, you can't be losing map control like this. Hell, they might lose a tier 2.
Now they will lose mid tower too. There's no stopping this because Beastmaster is gonna have his roar up. They have full HP. They're fully exaggerated with mana boosts on many heroes, 2 heroes, Magnetar, Rubik, yeah, 3 heroes, and the Beastmaster. They don't need to go back. They're just gonna keep on pressuring now.
Acid Spray does little as they bring the tower down. Darkseer will be respawning now. Everyone back up and ready to fight. Chibik's on his way to an Orchid. Orchid, obviously a good choice, and you know, I talk a lot about, you know, ways that you can try to deal with heroes like an Anti-Mage and so on. And Orchid on a Queen of Pain is actually one of the few reliable ganking tools you can use on an Anti-Mage, just because, one, she has the initiation range. She can come out of nowhere, get on top of him, silence him out, prevent him from blinking. And if she has someone to go with her, certainly helps out a lot as well.
Yes, but it's going to be too little too late, because this Anti-Mage is going to have a Manta style soon. Very soon.
Yeah, he's actually, yeah, very soon's an understatement. He's going to have a Manta, Trez, and Battle Fury Dunzo at about 20 minutes, if even that. I mean, he's basically got it done right now. We take a look at our goal graph. We can see DK was quite happy to just let the early phase go the way of chains, as they've now turned it completely upside down. The experience back to 0 for the first time since less than 5 minutes into the game, and Chain Stack, I mean, they've got to be under some pressure here. I mean, the Shadow Blade is now done on the Alchemist, so he's going to be in shape to fight if he really wants to. But I think I agree with you. Well, I don't think I do. I know I agree with you in the fact that they went a little overboard on the farm items on the Alchemist. Minus Battle Fury, not bad items, but right now, Anti-Mage just going to get so much more out of his own, out of his lone Battle Fury.
There are 2 types of games that you will always see: the farm game, which is the most common one, and the game where everybody's pressuring themselves. It's also very common, but the farm game is much more common. This fight is coming up top, so I don't know if I'm gonna talk about this further. Pretty much am, because I don't see them fighting really. So yeah, the other game is when you get to farm up only, let's say, 10 minutes of the game, and then your farm stops, because all that starts is fighting. Fighting and countering and just moving around, and you're not farming, you can't farm anymore, and it does not matter how well you farmed your Perseverance and Broadsword, because you're not farming anything anymore.
Right.
And that's the whole point of how to play against an Anti-Mage. That's why teams like Orange and IG or LGD International, they don't wait, they go fight right away.
Right. And we see, whoa, Magnus showed his face and showed his Blink Dagger for the first time. That was a fairly freshly done Blink Dagger on the Mag, and they're going to be able to keep the tier 1 up at least momentarily. And Chain's pulling back. Let's see, yep, they are just going to go ahead and TP entirely. This whole time, though, burning. Yep, peace out to that tower. Here comes the Alchemist, and oh no. Sorry, Alk.
He could come back right now.
Yep.
If he wanted to, but he doesn't know who's behind.
There is no outer tier towers remaining now. Not a single one for Chain Stack.
Yeah, it's time for last smoke gank from DK, but they don't really have a smoke. They don't really need to, because they could really buy just an Aegis, not an Aegis, just a gem, and get the Aegis.
Right now, feeling very confident. Obviously, we see the gems are actually already up on Super, so he's ready to roll. He's got a mech of his own, plus on his way to an Aghanim Scepter. Don't think he'll even have time to get to that. Even QQQ, I mean, look at this Venomancer. Venomancer picked up a Vitality booster. Hold on 1 second. Battle in mid. Chains making a run for it, and there's a vacuum. No follow-up. There's a roar on Risk. Here comes Chains. He wants to fight. There's an RP. Only got 1, though. Now the Sonic Wave is there to do some damage, but with the mech able to heal him up, doesn't look like it'll be enough. They bring down at least 1. Burning, though, still up and fighting. Going to clean up the Queen of Pain with the help of Rubik. Now Minerva's turn. He's down below half. Make it a dead Shadow Demon as soon as he has 1 more blink. No! MMY says, my kill! Goes after him. Takes it from Burning. That's a full wipe. That's 22 minutes, and we may be seeing the beginning of the end now for Chain Stack here in Game 1.
I think if the Alchemist would have stunned not the Beastmaster, but the heroes that are right in front of him, I think he could have hit with the Lothar, stunned both the Venomancer and Anti-Mage. He would have taken down Venomancer right away, but the Anti-Mage would have been like, let's say, I don't know, 200 HP. He would have to blink out of this situation, and the fight would have been completely different. But as you can see, if the Alchemist would have done that move, they would have almost won the fight. They probably would have still lost, but they still would have almost won the fight. They're not that behind,
right.
But their playstyle is, you know, it's burning themselves by burning.
Well, you look at the gold and the experience graphs. Is literally burning themselves, right?
Yeah, by burning.
You literally look at the golden experience.
That was the right choice of using literally.
Exactly.
that wasn't some. I thought about the word and then I used it.
Oh, I know. I sit back in gaping awe at your ability to wield literally in such a literally awesome way. 23 minutes in, 12-3. DK making it look easy against Chain Stack. We are in an elimination match right now. So Chain Stack looks like, yep, that's a dead legendary. And there's going to be a vacuum. Can they follow? Wow, good blink and skewer as well. And Bernie, super. Wait, sorry. Oh, there's a very quick disconnect from burning. I mean, all's basically done but the crying now. I mean, they just lost Nyx Assassin and Shadow Demon, so they don't really have a creep wave anywhere but kind of in mid. I mean, if they want to push there, I suspect they're just going to take whatever they can get here and fall back to Roshan.
Yeah, there's absolutely no good way for C-Stack to win this game.
Yeah.
Because they really need to pull out 2 kills on the Anti-Mage, and I don't really see them doing that.
Well, maybe he just won't come back. He'll just stay disconnected for 25 minutes and Chain Stack will get a forfeit.
I don't think there are noobs in this team that cannot... if I would be in this team, I'd play the Anti-Mage right now. And I'd still like play, I don't know, some Beastmaster at the same time. Easy.
Yeah, it's not like you're a professional Dota player or anything. Not you know, not like, you know, certainly not that.
I'm new. I came from Han.
You came from Han. I got asked earlier on by one of the viewers to tell a joke, in the stream, and I typed it out. I'll say it here just because it's the most predictable but yet hilarious joke in the world. Okay. Dota 2... Oh, hold on. Looks like we're going to resume. I'll tell it whenever we have some downtime. Hang on. Anyway, we got 2 down.
Downtime.
Yeah, looks like Chain Stack wants none of this. They're going to fall back. Okay, here we go. Dota 2 developer and a League of Legends developer walk into a bar. Dota 2 developer looks at the League of Legends developer and says, League of Legends is mechanically too simple. And the League of Legends developer couldn't deny. Tish.
Yeah.
Tish.
League of Legends is too simple?
I say exactly. He couldn't deny. Come on, you get the joke? That's gold.
Yes,
that is comedy gold.
No, but I've heard jokes about that like a long time ago already. Because I probably made the jokes already 5 years ago myself.
Back when you were playing Han?
Yes, back when I was playing Han. Because I was like telling jokes to people in Han. Didn't work out. Became a professional Dota player.
Tried to be an esports comedian and decided you were much better suited to being captain of one of those.
No, there's no such thing as an esports comedian. I was a Han comedian. Okay?
Oh, okay.
It's a different thing.
All right, 24.5 minutes, and poor Chain Stack. I don't know why.
Don't judge my life. Don't you laugh.
Hey, man, you're puppy. I'm not going to judge your life. Well, it doesn't matter what road led you here. It's going to lead you back to the International.
Han median.
Finally, it looks like Roshan likely to be the target. And Anti-Mage Illusion scouting things out. There's a gem on Beastmaster somewhere. Yeah, if he really cares enough. But DK just kind of easing into things. 10,000 experience in excess of 12,000 experience, actually. The experience lead. The gold right around that 5-digit mark. Going to be at 10,000 very, very soon.
Yeah, I'm wondering actually the way that they could have, like, let's say that the Alchemist is actually gaining items as fast as this Anti-Mage, even though they're losing like crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really wondering if you could place a harder... okay, let me think about one thing. There was a Meepo player named Chu, very long time ago in Dota 1. He was a Canadian slash, I don't know, I think he was Korean player. Let's take this Russian fight and then see what I'm going to say.
Looks like they're going to smoke. I mean, I don't know that they can challenge it. Roche going to be down and out already. And we see that Quelling Blade hanging out in the pit, so Burning, obviously the one to pick that up. Tell you what, man, when Burning, that's Burning's signal. When you see Burning drop the Quelling Blade, it means he's ready to go win. He will not drop that Quelling Blade until he has to.
Yeah, I know. It's man time for him.
Manta style, he actually did go BKB. I guess, I mean, at this point, no real reason to worry about it. Didn't think he would invest into that just because it does dispel Empower now. But
I think that's not the problem for him, because he's already split pushing and he's pretty much he can do damage without any new items for now. If he would get next to the Shadow Demon, he already deals enough damage to kill him in like 4 attacks.
This is an
so anyway,
go ahead.
My true story about Meepo. What they did was put him on easy lane and pull creeps, double spawn the creeps, then pull the creeps. But at the same time, they would bring, like, how the creeps go on you. They go onto the tower, right? And they will follow your hero wherever you go. You can go through the tower, wherever the tower, whatever. And they went to this creep spawn. They went to the creep spawn of the double spawn, and they gave them all the levels. This guy who pulled it, he vanishes, doesn't care about it, just goes away and everything. They gave him all the levels, and this is pretty much what you can do with Alchemist too. I was wondering why the Shadow Demon was standing on the lane behind creeps stuff. There's no reason for you to do so, because if he gets this money, he's going to be super useful super early. But if you take that away from him, he's going to be useful in the mid game. Not what you want to see from Alchemist. Your pick is picking him because you need to do something in the early game of the early stage of the game.
Rubik does manage to get himself an impale. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And it's one of those things where, and I was surprised to see Chain Stack doing that, because again, having watched them throughout Phase 2 and Phase 3, they were really good about moving their supports around and not just being away from the experience and away from the creep wave, but accomplishing things while they were doing it. You know, moving their tri-lane supports down to mid. Even if they weren't always selling out on a gank, they were at least showing their face, making the mid back, making the mid think twice about hanging around with half health if he misses a rune and, you know, say the bottle crows late or what have you. I mean, just making them feel uncomfortable. They were missing out on experience, but at least accomplishing something else on the map. And in this game, though, as you pointed out, a number of times now, Chain Stack just kind of handicapped their Alchemist just a little bit. I mean, he's not in horrible shape, but he's not anti-mage. Burning's already level 21. We take a look at the gold per minute. He's now up over 730. Compare that to the 620 of the Alchemist. And Alchemist is even being helped out by that Midas he picked up. Has added a BKB, and now the Desperation Smoke going to come out of Chain Stack. And they might be able to make something happen here. I mean, DK is a little spread out.
Spread out, but they realize it because they have wards all over the map. They have a Hawk, so nobody's farming bottom, and nobody's farming woods. Yeah, boys, we understand what you're doing.
Jig is up. Good attempt from Chain Stack, but not going to come to anything. Man, Burning has a butterfly. Yeah, Burning's basically full. Like, other than, I mean, if he wants a slot for his Aegis, he is full. Best he can do now is just trade off his Shreds for Boots of Travel. But yeah, 30 minutes full inventory.
Well, he's not that full. He's not that full. Still needs 2 items. Divine Rapier and Divine Rapier.
Obviously, gotta have 2. I mean, what if you forget one on the bus? Here we go. Oh, Chains. Oh, you poor Alchemist.
Poor Alchemist with 4 armor.
Yeah, I'd say a level 22 anti-mage with a full freaking inventory, save for his 2 Divine Rapiers, which I'm sure he has on layaway. Whatever happened to layaway? You notice that? There is no such thing as layaway anymore.
What is layaway?
It's like, I can remember this back when I was a kid, like, it was like, you would put an item, like, if you went into a store, and it was an item that you didn't want to risk not being there, you could, like, have them lay it away, and you would make a payment, like, every week until you could afford it. And, like, you would see parents do that a lot on, like, for Christmas, and all that kind of stuff. It was like reserving an item, but you had to pay a percentage of it to basically, hold on. Looks like we're gonna. Animage doesn't care.
No, we're not. We're not gonna have a fight.
But yeah, I mean, it was just like a concept for stores where it's reserved for you, but you have to slowly pay it off while it's in reserve. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
They just don't do that anymore. I don't think I've seen that in years.
I think they do it in here in normal countries, like European countries.
Chain stack. Poor Chains. That Alchemist is just so dead. This should be our GG. That's why we're talking about things like layaway.
I don't think. Like, let's say I want to buy something in the store. I can say like, okay, just hold it on for, I don't know, 2 days or.
Right, and you can still do that here. You can still do that here, but like layaway was like something like extended.
I get it.
But yeah, anyway, enough about that. Yeah, talk to me and tweet at me. Yeah, let's get my Twitter active. If you have laid something away in the last 10 years, I want to hear about it because I want to know if that still exists anywhere. Anyway, 31 minutes, all the time it took for DK to hang a Game 1 win, or Game 1 loss, I should say, if they're hanging it onto Chain Stack. Very impressive play so far, and I mean, what are your thoughts here, Pup? I mean, what could Chain Stack have done to possibly have turned things around?
They could have picked more aggressively. I don't see this Queen of Pain pick working for them at all. He stayed middle, and he pretty much did not really win the lane. He just stayed there and got the same type of lane against Beastmasters. See, Beastmasters is an important hero. He does a lot of things, but if you don't do anything with the Queen of Pain, there's no reason for him to be picked up right away. They could have had a Leshrac, they could have done some stuff, they could have ganked middle. Ganking middle would have been much more easier, but then they would have to maybe change their lineup a little bit. A Tinker would have been much more stronger. As you can see, lots of the players, well, the players too, but lots of the teams, they enjoy picking Tinker and they enjoy picking another carry. And that's what Orange does, that's what IG is doing, but they do it in a different way. They know their own plan, they have their own plan, they have their makes Lone Druid, they have their 1+ makes, they have their, you know, combinations, different combinations. They know about stuff. They know what's working for them, and Orange knows what's working for them, and LGD also knows what's working for them. But 3 of these teams, they fight constantly, and we didn't see a single fight until the 14th minute, I think, in this game.
Yep, we didn't see a single death until 14 minutes, and, you know, yeah, we had a couple of fights after, but even then, pretty one-sided affairs. 16-3, pretty one-sided result as well, 31 minutes, 53 seconds. The official game time, Game 1 is in the books. Chain Stack 1 game away from elimination, the only team remaining in the field, going all the way back to Phase 1, who fought their way to this point. Now going to have to win 2 in a row against DK. DK, though, going to be looking to make it a shutout and keep their hopes alive as well. I'm AC, joined by Navi's Puppy. Game 2 of this best of 3 coming up next.